Hey, this is Omar Sultan. I'm a Director of Product Management for Automation here at Cisco, and I wanted to welcome you to the 2023 edition of Developer Days in New York. Lots of cool sessions, lots of great content. I just wanted to kick things off with a couple of things for you to ponder as you sit through sessions over the next couple of days. So I was thinking about the opening, and we headed out to grab a coffee and a bagel this morning, and I saw this sign, and it was, it seemed fitting for the show as for this event as a whole, and what you all have done with automation. I think it's safe to say everyone that's here, just by virtue of the fact you're either in the room or you're listening to this, you're probably ahead of the curve when it comes to automation. I think it may not feel like it all the time, but the fact that you've moved from concept and ideas into production is a noteworthy feat. And I think everyone I've talked to, when they start at the front end of this, they think, hey, this sounds really cool, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. And I applaud everyone for the tenacity and the vision and probably the day in and day out effort to get to this point. Now, that being said, I want to get to kind of the title of this, which is being happy but not satisfied. So this is, a term that was introduced to me by my teacher. So I used to train martial arts, and as we progress from belt to belt to belt, he'd always toss out this concept of being happy but not satisfied. And his point was, okay, be happy, feel good about your success. You got a belt. There was a lot of hard work, a lot of effort. Feel good about that, but also recognize, there's more around the corner, and there's more, not just more work, but more good stuff and more cool things down the pike. So, be happy but not satisfied. And I think that's a great place to, that's a great way to look at automation. Both individually and collectively have some great successes in terms of automation, and it's certainly seen as a valuable thing. And we have a lot of great work done by our customers, you all, in terms of actually taking the vision and the tools that we build and really doing some pretty remarkable things, bringing value to your organization, bringing value to the business as a whole. But I also see a lot of, hey, why isn't there more automation going on? Why isn't everyone automating, 80, 90, maybe 100% of their operations? And those are some very good questions. Certainly from our perspective, looking at the entire landscape, we see some common themes across the landscape, across all our customer base. And there are a couple of them that are, I've captured on this slide. And this is the not satisfied piece in terms of, okay, how do we take our current successes and some of the things to focus on. I'd love to, hear feedback from everyone here in terms of what they're seeing and some of their challenges. I think one of the biggest things is we just see challenges with scaling scaling efforts, right? Going from individual proof of concepts or things individuals have done to make their life easier, to turn those into team-wide standards and frameworks, and then finally going from that and building kind of organizational strategy and adoption and budget and resourcing. It's a difficult challenge, and frankly, after the first couple of phases, it's more about people and process than it is about having the right tool set. And we've seen this consistent enough that the team created this thing called NADM, which is essentially our best practices around building a scalable automation strategy. If you're not familiar with it, it is available through our DevNet site. Definitely go check it out. It's free. It's a bunch of really useful information that is easily digestible and something that you can help map into the things you're trying to accomplish. I think the second piece is just building bridges with the business side of the business and finding an executive owner, executive champion that understands the value of automation from a business perspective, not in terms of, okay, how does it help me deploy routers more quickly, but how is this going to help me with competitive or improve my top line or improve my bottom line or doing those kinds of things. And again, it's probably a different skill set, but it's probably one of those fundamental things where, if you cross that crucible of getting your business leaders to understand the value of automation, it will certainly change the scope and the velocity at which you can automate. Kind of related to this idea of understanding reach versus grasp. I think one of the biggest challenges is we have an immense vision of, hey, this is where we could take automation. I think folks that get the get the automation bug, get the endpoint. But a lot of times it's how do you take that and break it into bite-sized pieces in a way that you can be successful within your organization and your organizational culture. How do you take a big vision and break it down into something more bite-sized and make sure your reach and your grasps are within shouting distance of each other. One of the things, and that's really one of the success factors we see as a whole, is understanding how to take big projects and break them down into smaller ones. And our customers that have been most successful with automation are actually quite good at doing that. And then finally, there's always this constant conversation about skills and accessibility. What are the skills to automate? Does everyone need to know NetConf? Does everyone need to know Python? Do you have to understand how Yang works and those kinds of things to automate effectively? And the answer is generally no, because the reality is that's not going to happen. And if you kind of don't understand what skills you do need and what skills you need to be a user of automation versus a developer of automation, what the skills do ops folks need versus developers, you're going to end up building these kind of these kind of speed bumps or even big honking walls to adoption in the organization. So I'm going to stir the pot a little bit. One of the things my team does that I think they generally would wish I didn't is asking to break things that work. So as a team, automation's pretty successful. We build some great products. We think, you tell us, you keep showing up here, so we think we build pretty good products. We have very well built process for building products, supporting product, those kinds of things. And a lot of times, very regularly, I'll go back to my team and say, hey, I want you to break something that you think is working because we need to build something that's better. This is working well, but we need to, if we were to double or 10x the size of customers, these things would start to break, and I'd much rather break them now when we can fix them than have to try and have things break and fix in real time. So I'm going to ask you to do the same kind of thing within your organization, within your strategy. What are things that are working, but maybe you should break? The first one is about breaking out of silos. We tend to have very tight focused projects, which is a great thing, but I think there's also some benefit in starting to connect the dots within your organization. This is why we frame our automation strategy in terms of visibility, insights, and action. I mean, everyone thinks about action from an automation perspective, but we find if you can start connecting that to visibility and what's going on in the network, having analytics and insight, those kind of things, the benefits really do end up with that 1 + 1 = 3 type of benefit. And it's not just on a technology perspective, but connecting the dots around your business processes and those kinds of things, which leads me to the second one, which is seek entanglement. It is trying to figure out how to get connected and entangled with other parts of the business, whether it's other parts of other technology domains or other technology practices, or other parts of the business. The order processing side of things, or customer management, or those kinds of things. Again, just drawing on our own example at Cisco, as our automation portfolio evolves, we're starting to ask the engineering and product teams to work much more closely together, where we might have had a couple of points of touch points or integration. Now it's much more, and we're really focused on a more collaborative, interactive, many-to-many integration across the teams. And I'll be honest, it's difficult. We've had our stops and starts, but overall we see benefits in terms of how we're building products, and ultimately benefits in terms of the tools that we build for you all to use. And finally, there's this concept of leveling up. The things that have made you successful, the things that have gotten you to this point, are they the same things that'll help you get to the next point? And a lot of times, yeah, it is, but a lot of times maybe you do need a rethink on your tool set or your skill set or processes and those kinds of things. And sometimes you need to have an honest conversation. Okay, this works, but we need to do other things. We've looked at it again, back to our own examples. NSO has been a great tool, but we also recognize, hey, if we want to, help customers get to the next level, we need things like workflow. We need things like Automation, which we'll talk about shortly, to help flesh out the flesh out the portfolio. So along that lines, what are we spending time on? So these are some of the things that we're spending time on. So one of the big things just at a high level is reducing time to value. So that time to value is from the minute you buy software from us, how long before it's doing useful things for you. Some of that is making products easier to use and easier to install. Some of that is giving you things like the developer tools or bundled use cases or those kinds of things. So the amount of building you need to do is minimized, and you get to using sooner than later. We're looking at doing higher level automation, right? So not just automating actions, but starting to automate entire business processes. So with assurance, sustainability, service life cycle instead of just device life cycle. It's kind of doing automation at a higher level. A big part of that then is just making NetOps fun. We want to make our routers fun and easy to use. And this comes from everything from things like CNC and HCO, which give you really sophisticated network service lifecycle management, to our assurance to help you figure out what's up and running, to things like Routermation, which give you canned use cases out of the box. We're looking at simplifying everything. Products, pricing, licensing, everything across the board. This is one of the internal mandates, is to try and simplify as much as we can. Part of simplification is also broadening access. So make the tools easier to use for a broader set of people. Again, things like having rich GUIs and workflow and those kinds of things now opens up automation to a much broader set of customers or users within the organization. I think that's generally a bad thing. It creates a bigger market for who can use automation and who can derive value from automation. Somewhere along those lines is also the idea of building provability. I spend a lot of time with metrics and providing insights and those kinds of things into the tooling to make it easier for you to be able to show, hey, these are the benefits that that automation is providing. So you can see it for yourself as you build business cases and ROIs and those kinds of things. But again, also being able to bridge out to your business leaders and show, hey, this is what we're doing that's positively impacting the business. That's a thing that helps you build trust with your potential stakeholders. And finally, the sustainability, big focus, and we're attacking sustainability across the board. Automation plays a big role in sustainability in terms of being able to take actions in terms of network operation, those kinds of things based on sustainability policy, and you'll see us continue to invest in that. Finally, the last thing that we are spending some time on is understanding where AI fits into an automation strategy. So I'm just going to touch on this very briefly. But our overall strategy, we're going to start with worker augmentation, helping you do a job better. And from that, build towards more, full automation, around our same pillars about visibility, insights, and action. The approach we're taking is you'll see is going to be very pragmatic. It will be use case driven. We're looking to help you impact the KPIs you already care about. So as you're looking at tools and the GWiz technology and stuff, and you're trying to figure out, okay, is this useful or not? Our goal up front is let's focus on the things that impact the KPIs you're already tracking. So you can see, okay, I now have a baseline, and using these AI-enabled tools, is giving me some measurable benefit. Now we do have, this is not a standing start for us. We do have, some proven IP, within the team for building these solutions. So we have analytics out of Skylight from the Obsidian acquisition. We have a lot of great IP on planning within Way, our crosswork optimization engine, and even within NSO. So the use cases that we're looking at are really broken down into these categories here. Assurance use cases, closed loop operations, which are things like predictive or automated maintenance, developer support. This is things like Project Lightspeed, for example, or Copilot, or those kind of things that help you as a developer with building code, being able to tap documentation, sample config, sample code, those kinds of things. Traffic engineering, optimized path selection, those sorts of things. Operations, again, understanding what's going on with the network, automated root cause analysis. those kinds of things, and then topics around sustainability. So that was a very high-level flyby of kind of where we are with automation strategy for AI topics. You'll hear more about that in the coming quarters. But for now, that is it for me, and I will enjoy the rest of the videos. And as always, team loves to hear your feedback.